to Habs Unfiltered, episode 367. I'm your host, Blain, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Matt Smith.
Good evening.
And Trege, the Hammer Wilson.
Afternoon, somewhere. I'm
Somewhere.
going to fix my light. I don't like the light on this. Yeah, that's better.
You look so much better like that. It's almost like you got the spray tan on already.
Nope, not till the 29th of September, baby.
It's the Barbie filter.
First coat. I actually want to see that movie. No lies. I want to see that movie. I heard it's pretty good.
Yeah. I have no problem with that one.
Can't go wrong.
I saw
can't go
Ryan
wrong
Gosling
with Ryan Gosling.
He looks some good.
Or Margot Robbie.
I was gonna say Margot Robbie first.
We equal opportunity here.
Hey man,
yeah.
It's 2023, buddy. It's 2023.
That's right. It's a new Navy.
Yeah.
Not a new Air Force. It's just a new Navy.
The Air Force is still lagging behind.
Well, that's not true.
Making it.
Trenton did have a base commander who liked to wear women's underwear, so
Okay. So anyway, to hockey.
Oh, fuck.
This episode, I mean, we're in the middle of the summer. There's not a ton going on. It's fairly quiet. I mean, most GMs are on holiday at this point. But we do have some items. We'll talk a little bit about the rookie tournament that's coming up. We'll talk about the preseason, some stuff surrounding that, what we think might happen, who's going to be the champion. It's obviously Trege, but we'll pretend like it won't be. And some stuff about Reinbacher. So why don't we just start it off right away and talk a little bit about the Montreal Canadiens being the 7th youngest team in the NHL on paper right now.
Yay. I mean, no, that's good. I like this because it's young, but it's experienced young, especially with all those defensemen playing last year and getting the NHL time. Now, Newhook comes in. He's, 23, I think? 22. So, but he still has 2 or 3 years under his belt already. Suzuki, Caulfield. Montebeau's not an old goalie. I think he's 26, 25, something like that.
Be 27 this year.
Yeah, so I mean, it's good for the team. They get the, I mean, the old guys are guys that are soon leaving anyway, like Huffman. Savard's probably going to be gone either by the end of this season or next off season.
And that's saying something because Savard's only 32 years old.
Well, that's just it. But I mean,
right? Yeah. So,
I mean, even Anderson now is a veteran at 28. So, or not a veteran, but an elder.
He's one of the older ones.
Yeah.
And then you have Brendan Gallagher and that excellent contract for a 31-year-old. 20 years at $6.5 million or whatever the hell it is. But
hey, now the guy just got engaged, so he's not that old.
Yeah, he got engaged. Good for him. Well, actually, I mean, we say old. I mean, I'm 49 next month, so I wish I was an old man ready to retire from my job at 30. You know what I mean? So,
or a millionaire.
Yeah, or a millionaire with just getting ready to get married to a nice young lady who sure just loves him for his looks and personality. This is my last show. I don't care. So
no. Trege's not going anywhere. Anyone, don't worry about it.
No, I'm just kidding. No, Gallagher and his girlfriend have been together a long time, and he knows his career is coming to an end, either LTIR or some other way. So he's going to give her the ring because he's going to have a lot more time to be with her. Kind of Derek Jeter-esque because he never got married till he retired. So.
Honestly, this is a tangent, but you got me onto with that Jeter comment. I'm surprised more high-end, well-paid athletes don't do that more often. Like you look at Tiger Woods, The only thing he did wrong was cheat on his wife at every single stop he made. If he was never married, no one would have said a word about his activities with those porn stars and waitresses and whatever the hell else he had.
Strippers.
Yeah, yeah. He would have been applauded. But instead, he chose to get married. I mean, she seemed like a lovely lady, but clearly he was not ready for marriage. There's too much temptation for those guys. So why not wait until you're a little bit more mature?
Well, I mean, Jeter's big thing was playing baseball and the amount you play and the amount you're gone. He didn't want to have a family and not be there. You know what I mean? Also, I mean, if you see the girls he was dating through his baseball career, you know, the guy was having his fun. But you're absolutely right. Like a lot of these guys, and not to compare it to the military, but it's kind of like you're gone away a lot. You're in different places and you meet different people and, you know, things happen. And if that's the case, yeah, you're not ready for marriage. Like just wait until you're ready to settle down and have a life. Or be like Matt. Matt's like the Derek Jeter of the Yankee years, dating all the hot women in Trenton and, you know.
I thought you were gonna say that I was like Tiger Woods banging whores.
Well, I wasn't gonna put
it
it that way. I was like, you know, I mean, we are talking about Trenton. I was
waiting for you to say.
So we are talking about Trenton. They're either married military people or not married, but date military people. So
I mean, it could have happened. It could have happened. I didn't watch you the entire time we were in Nashville.
Oh, you guys make me laugh.
Yeah, we don't know what you do in the off time there, Matt. You got that look. You could have just walked in any swanky bar there and be like, you, let's go. Never would know.
Yeah. Something like
just
that.
Snap his fingers.
And then 8 minutes later, you're back. You're like, all right, boys, some beers.
Let's go get some barbecue. Go.
All right. Anyway, back to the Canadiens.
So my point of view on the team being young. So I would agree with Trege, and it's nice to see a young team, but a young team that's got some experience. Some of these guys were pushed into a position more or less at a necessity because of injuries over the years for some of these veteran players, and some of the guys have actually fared quite well. Guys like Harvey Pinard, who got a 2-year contract out of it. Kirby Dach coming in for what ended up being Romanov, pretty much. And you look at like the old guy in the team, you're looking at Mike Hoffman and Chris Weidman, guys that aren't going to be in the long-term plans of the team. And your comment about Savard, he's only 32, 2 years left at 3.5 mil. He could be a guy that is either going to be that veteran presence on the blue line. And one of our last shows, I said that he should probably get an A for the departing Joel Edmondson. But even then, he could be a trade chip as well, a guy with some veteran leadership skills, and he's won a ring. So we'll go with that, right?
Yeah.
My concern right now is, is the team too young?
I don't think so, because Treg brought up a very valid point at the start of this when he mentioned Newhook. Newhook has got playoff experience. He's got a Stanley Cup. Then you look at Suzuki, Caulfield. They went to the final. Matheson has been around for a while. He's 29, so clearly he's the old timer there. But Harris played. I mean, these guys, they're rookies. Still, they're not rookies anymore, but they're still fairly young. But they've seen a lot, and there's a lot of people on this team who have experience that they can rally around, like Jake Allen. There's a reason why I don't think they traded him for this reason. The good in the room thing, I know a lot of people crap on that, but it's a valid point. Guys like him play that leadership role. They're like the cool uncle who can help them out.
There's a reason Toronto's changing their culture in Toronto.
Well, you can't say that. That's bad.
And they're bringing in guys to like Ryan Reeves. Ryan Reeves wasn't signed for 3 years to fight. He was signed to change the dressing room. That's what he was signed for. I don't care what anyone says. He's that off ice guy that's going to sit in the dressing room, says what he has to say, and you know, stuff like that. I think that's what and I think Montreal has a few of those players, but in their position right now as a rebuilding team, they don't really need to be. They don't need those veterans. And now, in 2 years, when you look at their salary cap, they're going to be able to go out and say, all right, get that 27, 28-year-old veteran, right? Sign him to a 3-4 year contract that just takes them to a few years past 30, and then try to go for that Stanley Cup run as those rookies all, get their experience and get better. That's the way I look at it. So I don't have an issue with them being young right now. But once they start to contend, you're going to have to bring in some of those. But then again, at that point, you have your Suzuki's and Caulfields and New Hooks that are all going to be sitting 24, 25, 20, 26. So who knows? Maybe they don't need to bring in too many. Just bring in some needed pieces.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah. So,
but there's still, despite the lack of age, I mean, being that close to the bottom in the age groupings, they still have quite a bit of experience that they can still rely on.
And they have Arbor Jack Eye. That's all they need.
But they still do have guys that have been in the league for a long time. Sean Monahan is only 28 years old, but he's been playing in the league for a long time. You see that guy is definitely a veteran presence in the lineup, and bringing him back for 1 year, I think it was a smart move, especially if the guy can stay healthy. He did look quite good in the short period of time that he played for the Canadiens before he was injured.
But you see, that's the big thing about the Canadiens, young as they are. Like we brought up Harvey Pinard. One of those guys going to say Harvey Pinard, as long as Montreal's injured, doesn't make the team because he's waiver exempt, right? Like, and that's the only reason I think he doesn't make the team. Yolen's not waiver exempt unless they bury Armia or Huffman. Now I'm kind of getting to a different subject, but it's still based on the youth. Guys like Slafkovsky and Harvey Pinard probably don't make the, and it's going to be one or the other, I think, because both are waiver exempt. So, like, why take a guy like Yolonen and try to put him through waivers, or Pizzetta and try to put them through it with the risk of losing them for nothing? Although I don't think, is Yolonen even signed yet? I don't even think.
No, he's not. He's
yet.
still an RFA.
Oh, no, he's not.
Yeah. So I mean, maybe there's something going on with him. I don't know. Maybe whatever. However, like I know a lot of people are going about Harvey Pinard could hit 20 goals. I'm not even sure he starts the season with Montreal, to be honest with you.
Even if he played all 82 games, I just don't see him making having the same type of season he had. He was shooting at a 25-26% rate. 14 goals in 32 in 34 or 36 games. It's great, but he's going to be a bottom six guy if he were to play the whole season. And if he were to get 14 goals over an 82 game pace, I still think that's an amazing season for him.
For a third, fourth line player. Like, because I mean, you're absolutely right. If everyone remains healthy, he's not playing on the top line with Suzuki like he was for the majority of his 30 some odd games. He's not playing on the second line because that's what he did. He was top six, I think, for almost the entire time he was up, especially when he got hot there when he first got up. So yeah, I just don't see it. But again, don't be shocked if you see Harvey Pinard starting Laval. And again, I'm not saying it has anything to do with his skill. It has to do with the fact they can move him up and down all they want, and they'll
waiver exempt.
Same with Slafkovsky. Now, I truly believe they want Slafkovsky to start in Montreal, so I'm giving him the edge. But he's also waiver exempt. So if it comes that Harvey Pinard really outplayed like 3 or 4 people in the preseason, then you're going to see him get the slot over maybe Slafkovsky and see him go. I don't see them risking Pizzetta or if they sign Yolonen. That, or they got to make a move to free up.
What about on the defensive side? Who do you think goes down?
I think Weidman does.
Yeah.
But they don't need this veteran presence there anymore. They got Savard, they got Matheson, you got Gooley, Jackeye, Harris, Kovacevic, and Barron. The only thing I can see happening is so that's what 8 defensemen.
Yeah.
So Kovacevic maybe it'd be another one that's going to be because I can't see them not going with 13 forwards.
Right.
Right. So unless they make a deal, Jackeye maybe he's waiver exempt. Barron's waiver exempt.
Yeah, Barron
I
is.
think
Yeah,
Barron's waiver exempt. Harris waiver exempt. I don't know.
he is, but I can't see them. I can't see him going down.
But maybe Jackeye. But I don't see Jackeye going down either. Especially now that you get guys like Ryan Reeves and Lucic and all these guys in the division now. I don't see him. I just don't see him the guy going down.
Yeah, it really does seem that most of the goons in the league, or I'm going to call them goons, most of the guys that like to fight.
Goons. Lucic and Reeves are nothing but goons
came to the Atlantic Division. Most of them did, and like even the same thing as Ottawa. Ottawa went out and picked up a bunch as well.
Yeah, and coincidence that Arbor Jackeye established himself as a tough as nails Lyle Odeline type hockey player, right? I mean, Lyle Odeline.
I love that.
Odeline could put the puck in the net. He had somewhat okay skating skills, although Jackeye's a really much better skater than Odeline ever was. But Odeline could throw. He could throw down, and he would throw down at any. So is it any surprise that all of a sudden all these teams in the division are getting Lucics and Reeves, and Ottawa's going out and signing a bunch of bottom line players that can throw, right? Doesn't surprise me.
Every one of those guys are bringing in for toughness are the enforcers you'd order on Wish. Really,
And
I mean,
Jackye's
way out of his way.
And Jackeye's the guy you get on Amazon. Or
That's
from
right.
Costco. Or from Costco.
You hit buy now on that guy. No, I mean, you look at Lucic, he's well past his prime. He's barely able to keep up. He is solely there to add the fighting element that Jackeye brings. And the same with Ryan Reeves in Toronto. I know Reeves is a fun guy. He brings a lot to the dressing room. And that is still an important thing, like I mentioned with Jake Allen. But when you're playing 3 minutes a night and your only real contribution is someone who can fight, now that's going to help in the regular season a little bit. It would be a little bit more pressing to have someone like that in the playoffs, but are they going to dress him for the playoffs when the games matter? Are they going to want to keep a guy like that, or are they going to bring in someone that, make a trade at the deadline, bring back Noel Acciari?
They didn't dress Simmons in the playoffs. I think he dressed 1 or 2 games. That's about it.
Yeah.
And really, that's after Florida had already been running over.
And I'm not really crapping on Reeves on this one, but his style of play and the way he skates, I don't think he's fast enough to keep up with Toronto's pace. Had he played somewhere else, a team that doesn't require their players to play at a sprint, he would be fine. But in this situation, I don't think he's set up for success.
Well, I mean, what offensive success have Ryan Reeves ever really had?
No, but you don't need him to score goals. You just need him to keep up.
Yeah, okay. I just, to me, I truly believe Ryan Reeves was just signed to sort that dressing room out. I don't think he's there for anything.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah, they say, he's bringing toughness. He's Wayne Simmons. He's the exact same thing as Wayne Simmons, a little bit better of a fighter. And Wayne, actually, He's not the exact same. He's the exact same thing as Wayne Simmons when he got to Toronto. Because Wayne Simmons was a 20 goal scorer, 25, almost 30 goal scorer when he was in Philadelphia. So he could actually do things. But I mean, when we were talking about the defensemen and which one, because really, even if you leave out Weidman, you have 8 defensemen. So there's 2 defensemen that you're essentially got to send to the minors. Now you have Harris, Jackeye, Gooley, essentially, and Barron are all waiver exempt, are they not?
So Harris, Barron,
Um,
Gooley, and Jacky are all
Yeah.
waivers exempt. Yeah.
They're all waiver exempt. So Kovacevic, Weidman would have to go through waivers. No one's looking at Weidman. Kovacevic, maybe you might lose.
I think
him
he'd
to
be
waivers.
claimed. I think he'd be claimed.
That's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
what do? And then that's what you say. Who goes down? You're not putting Jacky down because you're going to need someone there for all these guys like Reeves and Lucic and all these whatever. Harris probably isn't going down. Gooley for sure isn't going down. Barron? Now you've seen him play lately. Like, do you think he's going to be ready for the start of the season? That was his issue last year. He just wasn't in the headspace for the NHL when the season started. But when he came back up, he certainly proved he deserved to be there.
He's fully healthy right now. He's training. He's looking really good on the ice this summer. I got to see him at camp because right now I'm just watching him kind of
skate,
do one-on-one drills with people like like Crosby, which is impressive enough, but it's summertime training. It's not the same. Yeah, but you guys make a valid point. I mean, you look at the defense, and honestly, you can have a rotation there. You can send guys down, bring them back up. There's no limit to how often you can do that with that waiver exemption. And if your plan is to do a road trip with this crowd, you bring the guys you feel are going to fulfill needs that you have when you're on the road, and then you let the other guys stay behind and play with Laval. That way, nobody's missing out on development time.
I mean, I guess it's the play as long as they understand that's what they're doing. I just don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see Gooley being part of that rotation. I really don't.
No.
And I'm not quite sure you see Harris as part of that rotation. So
it's tough to see that. So I think Jacky is really the guy for that.
Yeah, but then again, you look at it and go, okay, he's probably playing when they play Toronto. He's probably playing when they play Boston. He's probably playing when they play Philadelphia. He's probably playing when they play Tampa Bay. He's probably playing when they play Ottawa. So when do you send him down?
I can't see him being a guy that they rotate out. I really think that he's going to be a regular in the lineup, and he should be.
Which kind of points to them possibly moving one player.
See, now I've always said that Harris was the guy to move, but not because I want to get rid of Harris. I just think he's the best bang for your buck if you're going to trade one of the young defensemen. He's going to bring you the most back. Weidman's not going to get you shit. Kovacevic probably isn't going to get you not. And to me, I thought Kovacevic was the most steady defenseman all year last year out of the entire group.
You might get a third for him.
Maybe, and which isn't bad, but with Harris, you might get a first. You might get a first plus. You don't know, right? Like you don't know how he's valued from other teams. I would like to keep them all, but at some point you gotta. I mean, Weidman. I think Weidman's gonna get thrown in Laval anyway, so that's what I think is gonna happen with Weidman. It's just me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, with Weidman, he's that player that you have no problems leaving in the press box for 2 months at a time. You don't care about his development because he's past it. Yeah. He's your eighth man. You bring him in when you need a guy or if there's injuries. Otherwise, he just sits to the sidelines.
Well, then that makes it even harder to decide what you're going to do. If he's the seventh defenseman, then it's definitely Kovacevic and either Barron and Jacky, one or the other.
If you are going to put someone on waivers, I agree. Weidman's probably the guy you put on, knowing that you don't give a crap if you lose him. At $760,000 a year, and he's in his last year of his deal.
If Gustafson can still get a job, Weidman can get a job somewhere because it's pretty much the same player.
I personally think you throw Barron down, give him top line minutes to start the year, and then have Weidman as your seventh. That's what I think.
I'm on the boat with Blain. Let's wait to see how Barron is in camp because I think Barron's issue at the start of seasons is his body's ready, but his mental game just isn't. I don't know if you agree with that or not, Blain, but I think that's kind of
like when he turns it on. He's a good young defenseman. It takes him a long time to get going
because he struggled in that preseason last year.
He did
struggled mightily.
He did, and there
And-
was
and
and
it-
there was
and it was
times during
better.
the year that he struggled.
And it was mostly mental mistakes that he struggled with, like just little mental errors.
Yeah, getting
In
into
my opinion.
game shape in his mind.
Yeah. And but
Yeah.
when he came back from Laval, he was one of the better defensemen on the team, hands down.
Yeah, well, him and his brother, if he can pick up some of that mental focus from his brother Morgan, that would be great. The two of them, they go at it hard during the summer too, like at each other. You think that they one of them actually ran over the other one's dog. Like they go at each other hard. It's hilarious.
Then you got
But anyway,
Mayu and Reinbacher.
well, that's what I'm going to get to now is the rookie tournament that's coming up.
Yeah.
Who's going to be like the Canadiens are playing in Buffalo in that rookie tournament in September. They got those 3 games. Like who's going to play? What's that going to look like? Is there going to be a third concussion in a row? Like these are the questions that I ask myself.
Well, Evans isn't playing, so the concussion's probably out. Now the NCAA players can't play, correct?
No,
That's right.
So you're not going to have any of them guys, but you're probably still going to see Waugh.
Yep.
Farrell, because Farrell's done, I think, in the NCAA, is he not?
Yeah, he signed his
he's-
contract.
He signed his contract.
So,
You're going to see Owen Beck.
Yep.
Messer.
Yep.
Mayu, Reinbacher, Dobes.
Yep.
Verbetic, or does he
No, he
ECHL
wouldn't
count?
He wouldn't
Medic hasn't signed.
He wouldn't qualify though. He wouldn't play.
Because he played in the ECHL.
I think he's
Doesn't
too
have an
old.
NHL deal.
I think he's kind of too old anyway.
Hmm.
So you'll
Uh,
probably see Dobes and you'll see the fella they picked up this year.
Cam Fowler, but Fowler's no, isn't it Fowler NCAA?
Oh yeah, Fowler is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fowler is NCAA, yeah.
Oh, the Russian goalie won't be there, so I don't
No.
think you'll see him. But
you never know. This is when you're gonna see guys possibly on tryouts as well, right? And then they've got the fella from Quebec that they picked up as well, Quentin Miller.
Oh, Quentin Miller, yeah, the backup
Right.
there for the Rampart.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Did they have a roster out yet? I know they had the rookie camp
Oh.
roster.
No, they don't yet.
No, but I would assume that whoever they've got playing in the tournament's going to come off that rookie camp roster.
Yeah,
Like Riley Kidney will be there, and Joshua and all those
Yeah.
kind of guys. A lot of guys that are going to be either in Laval for sure, or guys that are going to possibly be in the ECHL. And then some guys that you're going to feel bad for that have to go back to junior hockey just based on the fact that there's not a spot for them right now.
In their age.
Right? Yeah, like Owen Beck.
He might make Laval.
He'd have to be signed. And he'd still be too young to go to Laval.
Owen
right.
Beck is signed, and he's
Owen
still
Beck
too
is
young.
Oh
to
right,
play
he's,
the
yeah,
AHL.
but he'd still be
Yeah.
too young.
He is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's NHL or junior for him. There's
Right.
nothing in between.
Yeah, he'll be in junior the next year. But yeah, I mean,
Right.
you'll have Riley Kidney, you'll have Farrell, you'll have Waugh, you'll have Mayu, you'll have
They have some impressive
Ryan-
prospects. They've got some impressive prospects that are going to be in Laval next year.
Laval. Actually, I think is going to be pretty
Roar
good.
be there? Like
Oh yeah, Vincent
Yeah.
Rohrer, yeah.
Florian Jack Eye. That'd be fun to see.
Yeah, Florian Jackeye will be there. Oh, Florian. Oh.
Jaden Struble.
Can
Yeah.
he play though?
Well, he just signed his contract just at the end of last year.
Yeah.
It's not like you have to be under a specific age to be able to play.
I just wonder. I don't know what the rookie. I don't know what they consider. What? That's all. I suppose.
Honestly, I'm looking at if you're looking at the rookie camp roster, the development camp roster that the Canadiens had in July, and you just look at some of those names that are on there and the names that we can add to them with guys that you've mentioned before. The Canadiens have a ton of newly drafted players, and not just like 7th round picks here. We're looking at 1st, 2nd, 3rd rounders, and players who were kind of slid And you look at where they are now in their development, teams would probably draft them sooner. So it's a decent lineup, and the Canadiens' depth in their prospect pool is starting to really show now.
Yeah. Well, someone put out their list, and I think they were 10th or something, but I don't think that's right. I don't think they should be 10th, but whoever. Oh, yeah, Jared Davidson. He'll be there
Right.
too. And I think they'll be all right. Cedric Guindon, or however you say that name, Guindon.
Gano,
Yeah.
friend of the show.
Rhett Pitlick.
No, he's in the NCAA.
Is he? Well, he was at development camp.
Yeah, they can do 4 days.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's all you can do. You can only do development camp.
Oh, all right. Well, they still get 7-0. Luke Tuck's in NCAA, isn't
Yes.
Yeah.
he? You'll be all right. They'll be okay. They'll have Jaden Struble. Yeah, he was there. Turgenet, William Trudeau, Emmett Croteau. He'll probably, yeah. Oh no, he's not. He's USHL.
So there's a lot of really good young names. There's one name that everyone's going to be talking about, especially if he doesn't play in this rookie tournament, which is still a possibility because he's expected to return to Europe, and that's David Reinbacher.
Boo.
And so I put out an article on the Hockey Writers talking about reasons why he should go back to Europe, and part of it is this rumor that's come out. Nothing's been substantiated yet, and that's his so-called illness, the Orland Schlocker, or whatever the hell they call it. It's a fancy name for growing pains.
Yeah, I read up on that. There's no one confirming or denying this. Like, no one from his camp says, yeah, this is what he has. No one even mentioned that he had any issues. I'm not sure where this came from, or if it's
I think the source was Max Truman on Dans les Coulisses. He's got connections. He's not he doesn't just make shit up. He does put out some quality stuff, but nobody has confirmed this. I mean, if it's true that he has it, I don't think it's as big of a deal as some people are making it out to be, because it's growing pains. Lots of people have this.
He had a pretty good season last year. If he had it last year, didn't seem to affect him too much.
And I spoke to an orthopedic surgeon here in Halifax while I was having an appointment for my own problems, and he explained to me what it is. And essentially, the players' growth plates, once they're closed, this essentially goes away. It's going to take a little bit of time. There's a lag time there, 6 months to a year, where the discomfort will still be there. But the inflammation and all the other, that goes away after about a year, after your growth plates close, which is for Reinbacher probably at the end of next season. So if that's the case, go to Europe. Stay the hell away from Montreal. Stay away from the limelight. Just go deal with your shit over there. And then once you're done that year, come on back.
I think that's the thing right now with Reinbacher is just where he's going to be, where his development's going to work for him to play. Should he still play in the Swiss Pro League, or should he play in Laval? I don't think you're going to see him in Montreal, but I think that's just where Hughes and Gorton and everyone got to sit down, and with Rob Bramage and them, and go, all right, where's the best place for this guy to play? I think there's a few players like that. Slavkovsky, I think, is a player they got to sit down, although applaud Slavkovsky and all the shit he's been doing over in Slovakia there to make himself better. With the skating, trying to be a better skater, trying to breathe better when he's skating to get his endurance up, and all this funky stuff that he's doing over there. Blain's in another world looking over his
I'm kind of working my other job at the same time. So, Matt, I didn't hear you talk about any of this yet.
I'm right up there with you guys. Like it all just seems that it's there's no facts behind it. They even talked to the head coach, and he said that he never saw anything. He never saw him in a knee brace like some people were reporting, etc. And really the only knee injury that I can see is what happened at the World Championships when he took that low hit. That's the only thing that I can see anything to do with his knee. And you would think by now, like this story's come out the last couple days, but like nobody say credible from the media, nobody from the team, like nobody has jumped out there and said like, hey, this is a thing. So I'm just going to take it with a grain of salt and say that the kid's fine. And I do agree that the best course of action would be for him to go back to the Swiss League for another season and play top minutes there and kind of hone his game. And if his legs are still growing, then let them grow over there where he's going to be playing in I'm not going to downplay the Swiss League or anything, but he's going to be playing in a less physical league.
Austin Matthews played there, Matt. Austin fucking Matthews.
And Guy Boucher did say it's better than the AHL. And he knows what he's talking about. He's the assistant coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Facts.
But I would say for him to go back, I'd definitely be okay with that. And say play those top minutes and come over the next season.
I will confirm he did have an illness at the World Junior Championships. It was called the flu.
Yeah, he was on IVs the entire time and in bed between games. It's incredible how well he played considering just how little nutrition he was getting or holding in.
And his coach Fury had nothing but top friggin' things to say about him.
Yeah. I spoke to Coach Fury again this summer. Had an exclusive interview with him, and I put that out on both Hockey Writers and Crier Media. And he had nothing but great things to say about both him and Rohrer. And the next time that Coach Fury's here in Nova Scotia, we'll all meet up with him.
He's from Antigonish, if you didn't know that.
That's right. He's a blue noser. Anyhow, that's pretty much it for the show. Why don't we do some final thoughts? Treg, final thoughts.
I don't really have any. What did the cow say to the calf? It's past your bedtime.
That is horrible.
Did you hear about the power outlet that got into a fight with the power cord? He thought he could sock it to him.
I draw the line at dad jokes, but granddad jokes are it's beyond the pale.
I'm addicted to collecting vintage Beatle albums. I need help.
I need somebody.
Anyway, no, I don't really have any final thoughts. It's midsummer, nothing's really going on.
Yeah.
I'm like Matt, I'll take the Reinbacher thing with a grain of salt. And anything like that. However, I will take this prediction now. The Habs are going to make a big move before the start of the season. Major pieces will move.
Mike Hoffman.
Maybe.
To the Islanders.
And a defenseman. I'm not saying to the Islanders, but a defenseman and Mike Hoffman are going to be. It's the only thing that makes sense. It's the only thing that makes sense.
What about you? Final thoughts?
Preseason schedule is out. So the Canadiens are going to start on the 25th. Going to play New Jersey, Ottawa, 2 games in Toronto, or 2 games against Toronto, then 1 in Toronto, followed by their last game of the last game of the preseason will be October 7th in Ottawa. So only 6 games this year, as opposed to it seems like a dozen that they usually play. Other than that, Twitter is apparently changing to like X or something like that. So it's not the Wakanda thing, it's an X. All right. And I guess we'll be on that platform when Twitter changes its name or whatever the hell it is. And if you got shit dad jokes, so do I. So what do you get when you cross a brown chicken and a brown cow?
What?
Brown chicken, brown cow. See, it's a shitty joke.
I like that one. I like that one.
Well,
I like that one. I like that.
Oh,
okay. This show was
All
went
right.
full circle. We've had dad jokes. He talked about some stuff about my old CO. Talked about Tiger Woods banging whores. It's been an experience. Let's say
Spicy.
that.
It's been a spicy show.
Yeah.
It's called Midsummer Habs fucking podcast is what it. We have nothing. Nothing.
Well, for myself with the final thoughts, I'm going to say we do have something coming up, and that is another show later on this week, and we're going to have a guest. Laura Saba, the active stick from Locked On Canadiens, is going to join the show again, and we're going to just shoot the breeze. Hopefully, without the dad jokes.
It's going to be much more professional than this one.
It's not hard to beat that.
I will not bring up men in underwear.
We could bring up Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Good movie. Classic.
Mel Brooks movies are the best.
Classic.
The best.
Go watch Blazing
right,
Saddles before they cancel it.
Yeah. All right. So that's pretty much it. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in, listening, and anyone who's still with us at this point of the show. Bravo. I mean, you're definitely a glutton for punishment to put up with all that. So again, thank you for listening. And remember, if you're talking about it,